Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to do an unboxing, although I've already opened the box. And I'm going to show you some new cool gear that I picked up. Alright, thanks for coming back. Today I got a really neat video planned for you. I opened this box up, even though I'm calling it an unboxing, because I have two items in here that I'm planning on, one I've been planning to buy for a while, and the other I'm using because I want to lighten the load a little bit in my get-home bag. So, we're not only going to show them to you, but we're going to take them outside and test them. So let's get into what's inside here. First off, and I had to open it because I wasn't quite sure what was in there. I thought, because I get a lot of boxes. Alright, first off, we have the Ultralight Titanium Cross Stand. This is for your little alcohol stoves. It sits in there, and instead of carrying a big contraption for the stove to sit in, it just sits in there and will allow you to cook on it. The next is the item that I've wanted to get for a while, and people on my channel have even told me to pick one up. And this is a Hyrock lightweight windscreen. Pretty simple item. We'll get into the specs on these in a few minutes, but I just want to show them to you first. If I can open this bag, there we go. Alright. So this guy, it is a windscreen for cooking. Now, the reason I'm getting this is because I deal with wind out here almost constantly. Even in the winter time, when it's just kind of chilly out, you know, maybe 40, 50 degrees, not too bad, but you still get some wind. And in the summertime, we get constant desert winds. So something like this will come in handy for a lot of my other stoves. But I picked this one up first just to check it out to see how I like it. At first glance, it feels pretty cool. And let me open up the other, that's the little package it comes with. Let me open up the other thing, the pot stand. There we go. This is the first piece of titanium I own of anything. There you go. So that just fits inside of your alcohol stoves. Not the homemade ones. These are for the ones you purchase. Now I'm going to give you the specs on these. So give me a second. We'll be right back. All right. So we're going to start off with the first item. That's the titanium cross stand for alcohol stoves. It will fit most every alcohol stove pretty much. Any kind of Trangia spirit burners. This is an Alox one. And I'll show you how it works. We'll do that first. And it just sits right in there, so you can cook right on top of it. So instead of carrying a stove or something to put this in, you know, any kind of system that you have set up, something like that, and there you go. There's your cook kit. This is super, super light. It is made of titanium. The company name's Evernew, but there's tons of these on Amazon. I will put a link to these down below, so you can check them out. Actually, I'll just put them in my store, and I'll put a link to my store down there. So you can check them out. If you click that link and you see them, and if you can find a cheaper one, that's cool. I believe these were around, I want to say, $10, $9. Not too expensive. It's a 1 inch by 3 inches, weighs 0.5 ounces. So for those of you doing ultralight backpacking, something like that is pretty awesome. It's definitely lightweight. It's titanium, so it reduces the weight on it. They do seem to be well machined out. I don't know if you can see up close there. Doesn't seem to be any kind of defects in them. I did see somebody complained that one of theirs had a little chip in one of these little things, but other than that, didn't really see many complaints about them. They're a pretty simple item, and we are going to test it out. I'm going to see how long I can use this and this to cook breakfast. So we are going to test it out in a second. And the cutouts on this are also designed not only to make it lighter, but to also shed heat. So when you're done, okay, and you're packing up, this thing gets cool very, very quickly. So let's move on to the next item. All right, this is made by a company called Hyrock. This is a lightweight, compact, folding camp stove windscreen. Like I said earlier, I've been looking for a windscreen for a while. I know you can make your own. This was inexpensive and easy to use, so I figured let's try it out. Definitely handy in my area because we always have wind. like I said. These pins do come out, so you can take the pins out and you can make this smaller or bigger. I think for starters, I'm just going to leave it like that. You have these guys on the end, so if you want to even close this thing up, you can take one out and put it together and seal it together with one. So you can make it a complete circle. I think I like the fact that you leave it a little open. You can actually reach in there and do what you got to do. There are 9 panels each. Each panel is 5.2 inches by 3 inches. The whole weight of the whole thing is 4.5 ounces. I'm aware you can do it with tin foil. You can do this with tons of other stuff. This is just something I want to try because we really do get some strong winds out here. And I figured if I do it with something that's lighter, it may not work as well. So we're going to start out and try it with this. And we're also going to use this outside. So it runs about $8.55. Again, I'm going to put a link in my shop, in my store, so you can follow that link. And you know, there are always suggestions on the bottom. So if this doesn't suit your needs, you need something bigger, smaller, whatever, you'll be able to find it on Amazon. But for me, that was a perfect size. And it does fold up. It's about the size of a cell phone when folded. You know, about that big. It will feel very light and flimsy, but it's just aluminum. So, anyway, what we're going to do with these two items is we're going to go outside, and I'm going to use this stove and this windscreen, and I'm going to try to cook as much as I can on this little tiny stove. Now, for the breakfast, I'm just doing a freeze-dried entree here. But I'm also going to try and cook some biscuits and make some coffee. So let's get set up outside and see how that goes. All right, so we're pretty well set up out here. I'm going to show you how I do biscuits. It's not a long-term storage thing, but if I'm camping or something, you can do them like this. But first of all, we're going to boil the water. Now I have a little flask here. It's a 6-ounce flask. There you go. And I just use that for the heat. I'm using heat, that stuff, instead of rubbing alcohol. I find it to be a lot more of an efficient burn and a lot easier to use. Then we'll get into the biscuits in a second. But first we're going to boil the water. I'm going to make water for my coffee and for the freeze-dried entree. And while that's cooking, I will set up water for, I'll set up the biscuits. Let me get this out of here for a sec. And it's hot. All right. So I'm going to let that burn and burn in. And of course, the day I go out to test a windscreen out, it's absolutely dead calm out here. There's not a drop of wind. All right, so this here requires 1 cup. And my coffee, by the way, I never showed you this. This is a different one I made. This is a little coffee cup that I made out of a can that's, I burned the heck out of it. I've gotten all the plastic out of it. And again, this isn't a long-term thing. This is more for fun. We're going to test it out. I wouldn't suggest drinking out of aluminum cans every single day, but it is kind of neat as a survival project to do that. All right, so I'm going to do 2 cups of water and put it on there. And that is actually insulating it nicely. That's really insulating it nicely with the pot stand on it, with the thing around it. Pot stand isn't the insulator. And there we go. Okay, so I have the lid on, and I'm going to bring you back when this is boiling. And for some reason, when I come out here, my nose always gets stuffed up. It must be something I'm allergic to. I'm going to bring you back when that's boiling, and we'll move on to the next part of cooking breakfast out here and using this new equipment. So I thought, well, I'm waiting for that to boil, and I'm not timing it because we know it's not going to be super fast. I would prep up my biscuits. Now I have a little bit of olive oil here. I put a little bit on a piece of paper and just put it in a pan like this, just to coat it. So this is ready when that's done cooking the water. Now with these biscuits, these are croissants. And what I like to do with them is to separate them. Just kind of get one separated right there. You can kind of stretch it out and foam it around and just put it in there. And there's a biscuit. Now, of course, you're going to need a way to keep these cold. This isn't really bug out food. This is more of a camping trick. But it does seem to work pretty well. And there you go. So those will be ready once that's boiling. I'll leave them in the sun a little bit, warm them up a little, and bring you back when we got boiling water. All right. This is amazingly not very hot for what I thought it would be. We do have boiling water in there. So I'm going to pour off the first cup. Move this over here. I'll pour off the first cup for my coffee so I can actually see when I'm at that first cup. Let me make sure I do this in the camera. All right. A little bit more. And again, you can add more or less depending on how much coffee you want. Something I've noticed with the Mountain House entrees too is they do tend to run a little bit lower than what they say as far as how much water you need. So I'm going to put this here and let it settle. I want to do just under 8 ounces. Just a drop under. All right. So now, move that back. Coffee's brewing. Pour on the rest in my Mountain House. And we're going to stir that around with the fork that I took out and don't know where I put. Oh well, we'll use a spoon. I got one of these in my one of my cook kit reviews. Anyway, I'm going to stir it around really good. This is the scrambled eggs with bacon. And we're going to seal that up. Okay, that's all sealed. So that's back there. Coffee's brewing back there. And we're going to put the biscuits right on here. And I'll be back when those are done. I just want to give you an idea how this comes out. You do have to flip these often. They almost look like pancakes. But you just keep doing that there, and they're almost done. So what I'm going to do is bring the food inside and give you a final wrap-up on how these things are working. And I did get a little bit of wind, and this thing actually stopped it. So it is going to be handy for cooking, definitely, out here. I'll just keep flipping these. When everything's done, I will bring you back. See you in a few minutes. All right, so there you go. A little bit of an unboxing, and a little bit of breakfast, and a little bit of test of my new items. So far, so good. You know, I mean, that wasn't a super real test of it, but it did seem to cut down on blowing the flames. Normally, when I have an alcohol stove outside around here, all you hear is like the flame getting blown around. So, I know this protects it fairly well. These guys are friggin' awesome. I'm telling you straight up. These are awesome. I mean, to think that that's your stove right there, and it's so light, so easy to use, so easy to carry, and will hold pretty much anything from this big pan, which I cook the bread on, to the little Stanley cup. You can't beat it. So that's probably going to be my new Get Home Bag cook equipment, because it worked so very well. And in my Get Home Bag, because it's not a long-term bag. You know, a Get Home Bag should be something you're using to get home from a vacation, an emergency, a disaster, from work, you know, where you may have to go on foot. You don't need a ton of food in it. You know, 3 days is probably overkill. But in my case, I usually keep 3 days in there because I'm about 60 miles from home if we go into Vegas. And the coffee in this little mug I made. I made a big pot, and I showed you guys a couple weeks ago making the big pot with the handle. I made this handle a little bit neater. So, that's definitely good. Let's try out the food. That came out great. And of course, the flaky biscuits. And that came out awesome too. So, all in all, I'm pretty pleased. Tried out a new camp trick with the biscuits. You just get the croissants and you unroll them and square them into little squares. Cook them in a flat pan. And tried out some new gear. So I'm going to put the links again down below to the pot stands and the windscreen. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just leave the link to my store. There'll be the first 2 items in it, so you guys can check them out. If you click that link and you click those, you'll see tons of others being offered. Maybe it's something that fits your needs better. You know, you may need a bigger or smaller one than this. Anyway, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out our Amazon links, like I said, down below. Click on the store, even if you're not buying anything related to my store, If you buy something on there, it helps the channel out, helps bring more cool gear. And don't forget to check out our Thrive Life freeze-dried foods. Underneath that link, the Amazon link, is our Thrive Life foods. We have pretty much anything you can think of freeze-dried in larger or smaller cans for you. So check them out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.